Hey guys, it's Jeff and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be talking about some of my first impressions on my 2019 Rad Rover from Rad Power Bikes. Before I do that, I just wanted to point out that I'm standing in my newly configured studio space, and the reason I did these changes is because I want to have a more interesting and consistent background in my videos, and this also allows me to bring in some new lighting. Hopefully the video quality is going to be improved from my previous videos, and if not, well, fuck me, right? On to my thoughts about the Rad Rover. I've ridden it for about 35 kilometers now. Overall, I can say that it's a pretty good car replacement for me, and that's really the purpose, because as a fat guy and with very little motivation, there was no way that I was going to be going on an exercise bike or just riding around to get in shape, right? It needed to serve some purpose. It needed to get me going to where I needed to go and to replace the car, basically. And it works for that, so I'm really happy about that. Now, the first thing that I noticed about the bike, and I don't think this is conveyed enough in reviews and pictures and videos, is just how big the thing is. And the overall size of it isn't all that impressive. What's really impressive is the proportion. One thing I never realized based on pictures and reviews and videos is just how tall the handlebars are compared to the seat. It almost rides like a dirt bike, which is really impressive when you think about it. But what that means is that the front of the bike is lifted really high and the rear sort of sags down. And since the bike is pretty big, you have to be a tall person to ride this. That is something that has been mentioned in a few videos. I'm 6'1", right? I don't have very long legs, but when I sit on the bike, I'm very comfortable. But when I drop down from my seat, I can barely touch on the ground with my feet because it's wide and it leaves me to spread out my legs, and it's really big. It's a big bike, and it's a pretty heavy thing too. That's point number two. It's nowhere near as nimble as I expected it to be, and that's coming from a guy who's ridden a lot of dirt bikes. And I can show you a picture here of my actual dirt bike, which is a Honda Fat Cat, which is a bike with huge tires, and even coming from that, the Rad Rover is really less nimble than I expected it to be. So obviously as I get better with it, it's probably going to get a little better, but right off the bat it's really hard to control, and with it being so heavy and tall, it's something you got to watch out for. I said I got used to it after a couple kilometers, but I still need to work on it to get better. The third thing I noticed, and this is something that I think it can be explained by legal reasons, but the bike isn't really as powerful as I expected it to be. When I watched Barnacle video, the guy was about as heavy as I am. He seemed to get a whole lot more power out of the bike, and I think the reason for that is because in the United States, they get a 750 watt motors, which we do not. In Canada, we have 500 watts motors. I believe that's because of regulations. And so what ends up happening is, even though the top speed is the same, the power delivery is really different. In the States, I think they accelerate a whole lot better than they do in Canada because of our stupid legislation. I'm hoping I can figure out a way to hack that and get the full 750 watts out of that motor. But if I can't, I'll leave it at 500. The flip side to it, and which is still a positive in my opinion, is that since I'm getting to pedal a little more than I was expecting, I'm gonna lose a bit more gut a little quicker. And it's still within my range. It still gets me to where I need to go, so I think it's a win-win. Anyway, those were my quick impressions on the bike. Obviously, this weekend I'm going to be recording a more interesting hands-on video, give you more of my review on it and some more impressions. But until then, guys, stay tuned. Peace.